What's something in the fitness industry that you see that you just can't stand anymore?
People barely beginning their journey and considering themselves.
What people don't know is not every 2 times that you diet is the same thing.
They start getting caught up, slowly losing weight, getting disappointed.
Progressive overload doesn't only mean weight. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lean and Lionhearted podcast. I'm back with Mr. Richard Rosete. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, bro? It's good for you having me back on. I've always wanted to say that.
A returning guest. How's everything in Austin? What's the weather like right there? Or what's the weather like over there?
Right now it is 90 degrees. A cool
that's
90
light.
degrees.
That's light for Austin.
It's getting pretty hot, to be honest with you. It's getting really hot.
Before I left, it was like 105 every day for 3 months. That was crazy.
Yeah. I wonder how this summer's going to be.
Yeah.
How's California weather,
huh? It's like not hot at all. It's barely getting warm now. It's like mid 70s.
Fuck my life. Bro, this is brutal.
I know. Well, anyways, in today's episode, we wanted to cover a few topics that we got from people just to give a little bit more insight on some things that you maybe should or shouldn't do when you're trying to get in the best shape of your life. But I do have one question for you to start off. What's something in the fitness industry that you see that you just can't stand anymore?
Something in the fitness industry I can't stand right now is people barely beginning their journey and considering themselves a coach, fitness coach.
Right. So people that are just new to the game that start coaching?
Yeah.
Why does that bother you?
Right off the bat, all of a sudden they start selling programs and these cookie cutter programs and all this. I don't know what they're doing.
So how new is too new?
How new is too new?
Yeah.
Like up to 6 months at least.
Oh, okay. You mean like
brand new. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like barely just started losing weight themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is something that is quite commmen these days. Everybody thinks they can make it. Yeah, everybody thinks they can just start making money. Now that they they lose a little bit of weight, they're like, I could teach you. But what people don't know is not every 2 times that you diet is the same thing. Like one diet does not work forever. Like you can't just keep going back to that diet. I've had people they'll come to me and say, I had this diet before and it used to work and I just pulled up the exact diet from 4 years ago and I tried to use it again, but it's not working this time. It's like, well, your body's in a different place. You have a different level of activity. You can't just reuse the diet. Like your body changes all the time. Just like everybody's body is different. You can't use somebody else's diet. You can't use your diet from 4 years ago because you're not the same anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And
so what do you think what do you think is a good time? Like what would qualify someone to start coaching?
Qualifying for someone to coach, I mean, knowing like how far they've gone along in their own journey, like as far as even like, what kind of certifications do they have and that sort too. Like, a lot of people, they really don't like grasp the whole idea of like weight loss and what exactly it takes. Like, it's gonna be a long journey. It's not going to be a fast process. I think a lot of people, they start getting caught up, like if they're losing, like for my sister-in-law, for example, she's, slowly losing weight and she's kind of getting disappointed, but it's like, it's going to be a long process, it's not a sprint, it's going to be a marathon.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know about like certifications are cool, but I'll be real. I mean, they're not very difficult to pass. Most of them are not. I mean, they don't even really mean you know anything. Especially in diet. I mean, personal trainers are not necessarily versed in nutrition, but I don't think people know that. But even personal trainers, they don't even know that much. I've coached personal trainers that ask me, when are we going to start confusing my muscles? I'm like, bro, that's not a
Mm.
thing. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need to confuse your muscles, my guy.
So you don't need to change your workouts every 4 weeks?
Hell no. I think something people don't understand about weight training is that you don't have, like, you're not trying to confuse your muscles. Your muscles, well, they are confused, but it's just because they're learning a new movement pattern. But that's not the best way to grow muscle or work that muscle. Everybody's heard, well, most people have heard the term progressive overload, but the idea is you're trying to challenge your muscle in the same way over and over and over and get better and better and better at something, and that comes from repetition and doing something that is very boring and monotonous, like bodybuilding, over and over and over again. But every time you switch a movement up, and it's not like you can't switch movements up, you might find that one movement that you're doing just doesn't fit your body right. But if you're doing it just for entertainment's sake, or just because you need to think, or you just think you need to confuse your muscle, it's not doing anything. It's harder because mentally you have to think about what you're doing more because you're not used to doing that movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think the last time I changed my workout plan was like a year ago. It's been about a
You've
year.
been doing the same workout split for a year.
Yeah, like throughout prep and then coming off season. It's been about a year. Same thing, but just progressive overloading.
Are you still progressing at the movements?
Yeah, every week
So
I've been
you mean
progressing.
you've been running the same workouts for a year and you're still getting better at it?
But here's the thing. So like at the start of my off season is actually like the first time that I started logging my workouts. So before I really didn't log workouts. I would just go by like, oh, I know I'm pushing myself hard, so that was good enough to me.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually logging it, and it's making it so much more difficult because knowing the number, knowing exactly what you need to hit, that's just it's totally different because now I'm starting to look at like the whole graph and understanding like, okay, I'm actually progressing. Whereas like before, I thought I was progressing, but I was probably just staying at the same pace the whole time, and just thinking I'm pushing myself
Yes.
faster.
Do you feel like there's been a difference since you started logging? Like, do you feel like you're progressing more or pushing harder?
Yeah, it's been brutal. Like having to look back at like exactly what you did last week, and then you're like, fuck, like I gotta beat that. And it's been rough. Like no lie, like there's been like a couple of weeks where like I couldn't hit it. Like yesterday, for instance, uh, I couldn't hit it. I couldn't hit my previous best on leg press or Bulgarian squats. And it was kind of defeating, but I was like, okay, maybe like I need to take a little deload now. It's about the time because everything's starting to kind of hurt now too.
Yeah.
Starting recovery starting to go down the tank. So I think next week I'm gonna do a little deload.
Yeah. That's a good sign.
Yeah,
And for everyone listening, progressive overload doesn't only mean weight. It could be getting cleaner reps at the same weight, or it could be doing more reps or more volume. Like if you push yourself to a new weight, you might be aiming for 10 reps and you might only get 8, right? So then you stay at the same weight, then you go for 10, right? And then you progress that way. But that 10 that you got, the last 5 reps were hella ugly. So then the next week you progress by getting cleaner reps until you get 10 perfect reps at that weight. Then you say, okay, cool, graduated to the next weight.
right. And that's another thing too. Like going off that topic, like that was another thing that I did with my training this off season was I really just forgot about like weight. I'm not trying to just push weight. I really started to focus on my tempo. So everything everything is lighter in weight, and I'm actually going higher in reps too. So my first set is from like my first top set is from 14 to 17 reps,
God
and then
damn.
yeah, and then my second top set is going to be from 18 to 21 reps, and like my tempo, I go down 3 seconds, try to go up for 3 seconds. So it's super slow, super controlled. It's been rough.
How do you feel with the higher rep range versus like, 10 to 12?
I think it's easier for me, like on my joints too, because like now that I'm getting older, everything's starting to hurt
You're
more.
not even that
So
old, bro.
heavy, I know, bro, but heavy lifting, after over and over, and especially like if you're not doing it correctly, and like that
Yeah.
too, like it's gonna compact over time. And, you're gonna lose mobility. So I think it's been a lot easier for me. Like I've been liking it a lot more.
Okay. So kind of going back to what you're saying though, like something that you hate about or you can't stand about the fitness industry, right? So you don't like people that are new, that are just really starting and don't really know enough to start trying to sell, basically try and sell coaching.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
oh, go ahead. What?
Yeah, like I feel like right now there's a big fad going on. Like fitness is like it's like the hot topic right now. Everyone wants to like compete. Everyone wants to do that, but like there's levels to this. Like you know, you got to put your time in,
Yeah.
especially
So,
like if you go ahead.
what do you think qualifies somebody to start coaching? More than 6 months?
What kind of coaching are we talking about here? Like just like weight loss coaching or like bodybuilding coaching?
Yeah, maybe we'll just start with just weight loss. If you're trying to be a bodybuilding coach, you better have shows underneath your belt, like like multiple shows before you're like, oh, I'm selling contest prep.
I think so too. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. I'm talking just weight loss, right?
Weight loss.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. So like you know, I would say like a good year, like in your fitness journey, like to really grasp like what you're doing and if you're actually doing it correctly. I say that's a good time. What do you think?
I think you have to go through multiple cycles of bulking and cutting. I mean, not everybody's going to want to bulk, but like
Yeah,
you have to go through multiple times of trying to cut. Because, like I was saying earlier, no two diets are ever the same. No two diets that you do are ever going to be the same. Something that works for you now might not work for you in a year. So,
right.
like I'm sure you know this. Every time you diet down, every time you prep, you learn something new about your body or yourself, right? If you only do it one time, you don't really know. I mean, you don't have a wide range of knowledge of things that can happen. And when you're losing weight or you're helping someone lose weight, there's a textbook way of how things go. They're like 3,500 calories is a pound of fat, and if you are in a deficit of 500 calories a day, you should lose a pound of fat a week. But that's not what it actually looks like when you're weighing yourself every day or on your waist or just progression wise. So and that's not even accounting for all the problems that can have while you're dieting. So just having a wider range of understanding of things that can happen or things that you're looking for before you can help other people. I mean, if you're helping other people for free, that's like one thing. But if you're like, hey, I lost 40 pounds this one time, let me help you lose weight, and I'm going to charge you up the ass for this, like that's stupid. You don't know anything. And it's
And then I'm just gonna give you the same plan that I used to lose those
yes,
40
that
pounds.
is horrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen on the internet.
Oh,
I have it recorded, but I was going to make a video about this. But this lady was like, You want to know how to lose 60 pounds in 30 days, or like 30 or 40 pounds in a month? I'm gonna show you." And it's like, first I did a juice or a 7 day water fast, and then the next 4 days I did a 4 day cabbage soup diet. All you eat is cabbage soup. And then I did a small salad a day with just juice. And then I was like, okay, so basically you're telling people not to eat for a month and they're going to lose 30 to 40 pounds.
this
What a
sounds terrible.
fucking revelation. So dumb, bro. And then she's promoting like, oh, get with me and I'll help you learn how to lose 30, 40 pounds in a month. It's like, Anybody could tell you not to eat. There's nothing special about eating fucking cabbage, you know? Like, it's so dumb, bro. I fucking hate that
Yeah,
shit. Honestly, the thing that I hate is
yeah.
just the way that people just market the most ridiculous things to try and get people to lose weight, you know, like people just use fear mongering to get people to buy into what they're selling, you know? Like there's nothing special
Carnivore
really
diet.
about keto. Huh?
I said like carnivore diet.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's nothing special about keto. There's nothing special about carnivores. Nothing special about, the cabbage soup diet. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. I don't even know what that is, but don't do that. Uh, I've heard of the sweet potato diet. That's an Asian thing. You just eat sweet potatoes and then you'll lose weight, right? But like realistically, how much sweet potato can you eat before you're like, this is disgusting in a day?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? At the
yeah.
end of the day, like there's basic principles, and then you can eat based on preference, right? Like you have to eat a certain amount of calories, you have to have a good amount of protein in there so that you can build or maintain muscle mass, and then you can start looking from there. You can start looking at food quality, meal timing, supplements, things like that. But unless you have those bottom two things, like calories and protein, nothing else matters, right? Like you can still get fat on a keto diet, it's just harder.
Yeah. And so, what do you? How do you feel about like a no carb diet? Basically, keto,
Like a
low
no
carb.
carb diet. See, my thing is, I don't care if you want to eat no carbs. If that's what you truly like and that's what you enjoy, go ahead and do
Well,
that. But don't go
let's keep it
preaching
that.
that there's something special about it, you know? Like if you
I
just
feel like
like eating keto or whatever, like that's cool, but there's nothing special about it. You don't have to do it like that. And that's just the way that people preach it online. They're like, "No, keto's the best way." It's like, "No, I mean, it works for the same principles as that anything else works. It's not special. It's not helping you any more or less."
yeah, and most people love carbs, and
Yeah.
and a lot of people think that they're bad for you, but they're not. That's what's gonna fuel you throughout the day. It's gonna fuel you through your workouts and all of
Yeah.
that.
The most common thing that you'll hear on like the most common thing that you'll hear on the internet about people and their fitness is, I tried keto but I couldn't stick to it. It's like, no shit, right? Everybody loves carbs. I don't know very many. I've maybe met one person in my life that's like, I'm just not crazy about carbs. I was like, okay, maybe. Like, that's a first. But
Yeah,
carbs are your primary source of energy.
carbs are
That's what fuels
amazing.
you. Yeah. Carbs are what fuels you through your workout. You can still have carbs and lose weight. You can still have rice and lose weight. You can have bread and lose weight. You just have to know how much of it can you eat and still stay on your
Yep.
goals. Most people just don't know that part. And that's why they're like, oh, well, if I just stop eating carbs completely, then I'll lose weight. It's like, yeah, but that's just another way of restricting how much you're eating.
Hmm. Yep. And then that's where a lot of people fail on their weight loss journey because then they go back to their habits. And they
Yeah.
just
I
say,
mean,
screw it.
that's,
I
I
can't
mean,
do this.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing that we teach in the program, right? Like, we're like, if you want to lose weight and you want to keep it off, it has to be something that you can see yourself doing long term. But if you ever plan on eating carbs again, you better learn how to eat carbs now, because what if you sign up for our program and we're like, oh, we're the keto guys, right? And we make you go on keto, but then you don't know how to incorporate carbs in your life in moderation. And the second you have carbs, you go crazy. And then all of a sudden you lose all your progress. So it's like the whole
Right.
time you want to be making progress. Obviously, you want to be eating the right amount of food, but you also want to be learning, like, how much can I eat? How can I switch different things in and out of my diet? How can I make sure that this fits in my life so that I have long term sustainable habits over, just some quick 90-day fat loss challenge or whatever, and then get fat again right after? Like, to me, that shit's so dumb.
And then you can teach those habits to your newborn.
Facts. That's yeah, I mean, that is the big thing, right?
And then they can live a healthy life and not have to go through what you did.
Yeah, I mean, having kids is part of the reason that I tried so hard in bodybuilding. Like, which is weird because I didn't have any kids at the time and I was very far from having kids. But, the reason that I chased it so hard was just because I knew that one day I'm going to sit down. And now that I know that I'm going to have a son, I'm going to sit down with my son and I'm going to say, you can do anything you want in life as long as you work hard enough and you put in the work. Right. But for me, being a role model is being the example. You have to show through proof. You can't just like say stuff, right? If you say stuff with no backing, no real tangible results, you're just, you're just saying shit, right? Like if I tell my son, "Oh, you can do anything you want as long as you work hard enough," and then he looks at me and he sees that I'm just an average ass dude with an average ass job and an average ass body, he's gonna be like, "Okay, well if I can do that, why didn't you do that?" You know? So me being a good role model, and this is really important to me, me being a good role model for my son is living my life in a way that I'm proud to tell him everything that I've done because I did it to the highest level possible so that I can show him that he can do anything he wants. I don't need him to be a body I don't need him to be a bodybuilder or anything like that, but I'm going to show him this is how you stay in shape. He doesn't have to be an entrepreneur or build a business, but I'm going to show him like you can do this if you want to, but I'm taking
Yeah,
away from his life if I can't show him that proof to give him that belief in himself. You know what I'm saying?
be- because you're not leading the way.
Yeah. And that is a core value of the team.
It is. It really is.
It is, man. I mean, just, and being a leader doesn't even mean being all rah rah and yelling at people and stuff. It's just how can you make the people around you better and more successful? And what better way than showing them that it's possible? You know,
And doing it yourself.
there's like there's a lot of people that you grew up with, and if someone does something crazy, like just builds like a crazy business or gets jacked and shredded or whatever it is, you're like, I know that guy. If he could do it, I can do it. You're showing people that it's possible because a lot of times it's hard when all that are people that are just normal. Doing something abnormal seems just like it can't happen.
Yeah. Takes a special mentality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's why I posted that thing yesterday, the real, because I'm in this challenge thing, just basically teaching you how to like do YouTube and stuff like that and how to get better at it. And they challenged us to make like this kind of reel or whatever, right? So I posted I actually wasn't supposed to take that video of the ultrasound. You're not allowed to, but I snuck it in there. Um, and then I had
What a
a couple
rebel.
people comment. They're like, "Bro, you about to make me cry."
Dude, you almost made me cry, to be honest with you. I was like, you could be a good dad.
Oh, bro, just wait. I'm trying. I was talking to somebody in my DMs. I was like, I'm gonna try not to flood my page with just my kid. And then it was a
Dude, please,
girl, and
dude. I
yeah,
don't
well,
even
she
want to
was like,
see you anymore when it comes.
yeah,
Just post
that's
you.
what she said. She was like, no, 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 post all of them that you're willing to share. And I was like, I mean, I still have a job, like I still got to help people with this, right?
No, you don't. Not anymore.
Well, I told Bear, I was like, dude, I'm gonna make so many videos with him. I'm gonna have like at home dad workouts. I'm gonna do kettlebell swings, but I'm just gonna toss him around.
Dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
I know. Man, it's crazy. She's gonna be in the third trimester soon.
It's coming soon, bro.
Yeah. In a week or so. Cause we have our doctor's appointment in 2 weeks, right like the day before we leave for Hawaii. And then we're obviously going to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Hawaii.
What part are you going to? Is
Oahu again. Could we always go there?
that your favorite island?
I've only been there. I
Oh,
live
that's the
there,
only.
but yeah. Well, we wanted to go to a different one, but we figure she's pregnant, so like we're not gonna like do a whole lot. We're just gonna go somewhere,
Yeah.
and that's where our timeshare is. So we have like a good rate there or whatever with our points.
Well, this
Yeah,
might be your last vacation for a while, huh?
vacation. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're gonna go back to Hawaii in May next year.
Oh, May next year, but you'll have the baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well, it's crazy. Like yesterday, we went to Disneyland, and we were just like, this is probably the last time we'll ever be here without Kai. Oh, I'll bleep that out. Damn it. No, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. I don't know if this is a secret, but yeah, it
look
might
it
be the
up.
last. It's probably gonna be the last time that we ever go without our kid. I was like, will we go without him?
That's crazy,
And she was
man.
like, no, we'll probably never go without him. I was like, oh, that's true. Yeah. So that was the last time, and we couldn't do anything because she's
Until he
pregnant.
gets bored of you guys and he doesn't want to hang out with you anymore, and then you guys will have to go by yourself.
That's never gonna happen.
Maybe
I'm
it
gonna be the
happens,
cool
dude.
dad, bro. I'm gonna be the cool dad.
You can be as cool as you want, you'll never be cool enough.
They don't say that, man.
And it starts
Oh man.
slow too. Like, like they're always around, always wanting to be with you, and then soon you're having to beg them, like, hey, you want to come watch a movie? Like, you want to come hang out with us?
Oh, because Chloe
They're like,
doesn't want to hang out with you
nah, I'd
anymore, huh?
rather be online with my friend.
Chloe doesn't want to hang out with you guys anymore, huh?
She does, but she
That
likes her
wasn't very
personal space
convincing.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the original question, when you were saying you don't like people that just started, do you think that you should look the part or kind of live the life and be in the trenches, for what you're coaching?
I mean, for the most part, yes. I feel like you should be. I mean, obviously, like look at Hanny Rambod. Like, obviously, he doesn't look the part, and
Yeah.
he has the most Olympian titles ever. But he's like a special. He's a special one.
Yeah. I think it's funny that people use stuff like that. They're like, well, what about Honey Rambod? You know? Um, yeah, but he's the exception. He's the 0.1%. You are
Yeah.
not the 0.1%. Like you're comparing yourself to someone who is not only has more knowledge than you, but is way more established, right? Like you can't like it's like people that compare themselves to, you know, super elite athletes that do something wrong. They might their technique might not be as good, but I mean, they're an elite athlete, so they're way better than you. You are not that, like if you, like
Yeah.
I always used to say people have this crazy dream of saying, I'm going to do one show, I'm going to win it, and then I'm going to go get my pro card the next show, and then I'm going to go to Olympia the next show, you know,
Totally.
because they see people do that, right? Like, you see that. You see people do it because
Yeah.
because it's
But like,
crazy that they do it, right? And it just
like,
gets a lot of it gets a lot of clout, right? But what I always used to say is just like, if you were one of the genetic elite, you would already know. You wouldn't be like, oh, I could be, right? I'm on my way. It's like, no, you would know like right
yeah,
now. You'd be a
yeah,
freak.
yeah. But the majority of us are not.
Yeah, like look at the pictures of Phil Heath. When he was playing basketball, he was jacked.
Yeah, dude. Look at Ronnie Coleman. He wasn't
Oh
even
yeah,
on PEDs for like half of his career. And he looked
yeah. I
freaking
mean,
crazy.
yeah, I mean he's a freak.
That
But
is a
so for the
freak.
most part, you think people do you think people should be in the trenches and live the life?
I feel like the most part, yes. Like not just like living the life, but like living at least like a healthy lifestyle. Like don't let yourself
Yeah,
go. Like, you know,
you,
be
you're not a
on
big fan of fat
yourself.
trainers.
Mm, no, not the biggest. Especially like you'll see that a lot of corporate gyms. I haven't been to a corporate gym in a while, but you'll see that a lot of the corporate gym. You see
Yeah,
like a fat trainer, and you're like, how can you train someone?
yeah. Honestly, it's crazy, and I mean, the devil's advocate argument that I've heard is, well, what about NFL coaches? They never played in the NFL, but they can still be a coach. It's That's a different thing. Well, what do you think about that before I give my piece on it?
Honestly, never even thought about that. But I mean, most of the best coaches they're like they played, in the game. Like look at Kyle Shanahan. He was he wasn't in the NFL or anything, but he played in college and like he's been around the sport forever. Like a lot of like in college athletes, like that's going to be a big deal. Like making it to the pros, Like that's hard, you know. That's
Yeah.
going to be top 1% right there. Like you could still have like a super high knowledge base on everything, and you're just not an elite athlete, so you never made it that far.
Yeah. So then I'm just going to play devil's advocate. Like, what if there's a fat trainer that has a lot of knowledge, but just is not a
So
basic
you're just
athlete?
lazy.
Yeah.
So
So, I
you're
mean, like,
lazy, and that means that you're probably lazy with your clients too, and you're not giving them their all. That's what I would say.
ooh, that's a hot take.
But who knows, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like the NFL argument, like it took me a while to like really think about it before I I could really like think about like whether it was right or not, or whether I thought it was right or not. But when you're talking about something that takes not only skill but kind of just raw talent and power and speed, that's a
Right.
different thing, right? So like
Right.
an NFL coach, first of all, is very strategy based. You don't need to do the thing. You don't have to be an NFL player to understand this, to understand strategy.
Right.
And you could say that about fat loss, but it's not really. Like fat loss and being healthy is a lifestyle. And then also when you're talking about NFL players and teaching skills and playing D line or whatever, right? They can do the movement. They're just not physically capable of doing it at the elite level. But they can still do it. They can still demo it, and they can still pick it apart. And they also have a lot of experience. But you know, that's everybody knows that the NFL is like the 0.1% of people that play football, right? But
Yeah.
like when we're talking about being healthy, that is a basic fundamental thing that anybody can do. So if you can't do it yourself, how can you teach other people how to do it? How can you
Right.
teach somebody else to be healthy if you can't be healthy yourself? How can you teach somebody to lose weight if you can't lose weight yourself? And if you say, "Oh, well, I just don't care to." I mean,
What is it?
what is that, Like being in shape is like it's one of those things that personally, to be a good coach, you should be a good role model about it. You should live the life at least a little bit. Don't just be a fat slob. There's obviously the anomalies and
Yeah.
the exceptions to the rule, but as a general person that's trying to help other people get in shape, you should care enough to keep yourself in shape too.
And even as a coach, you're like always gonna learn too. Like, I'm sure you're always learning like new diet hacks and things like that. Like, which is gonna keep you like interested and more involved in it, like easier for you. And then you're able to pass that on to your clients too. But if you're not doing that, consistently, then you're losing out on all that information.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was saying earlier, like every diet is like no two diets are the same. Every time I diet down, I feel I learn something new, either a new way to do something, a new hack to do something, something about myself, like a mental
Some
cue.
way to make it easier. Like
Yeah. And
something
so
you didn't know before.
exactly. And so if you stop doing things, that's you saying I don't need to learn anymore. And the second
Right.
that you think that you don't need to learn anymore, you don't know
You
anything.
know
Because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know that much.
shit. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
the Dunning Kruger effect, right? Like when you first start, and these are the new people that are like coaches. They're like, I know everything. It's like basic math, which is calories and macros. But the
We haven't even
hardest
gone
part,
into quantum mechanics yet.
yeah. Well, the hardest part about helping get somebody in shape is that it's not just about setting their calories and their macros and making a meal plan. It's like, how do we get them to do that? How do we structure everything in a way to where they're getting the results, but we're working it into their lives,
Yeah,
because
we're
if all
making
it
it
took was calculating macros, they could do that on their own, like it's your job to be able to hold someone to be able to do it.
right. And I was having that discussion with my sister the other day too. We were talking about macros, and she was like, "Well, like I know what to eat. Like I know like I should be eating chicken. I know I should be eating rice, vegetables, and things like that. But I don't know how much to eat. And
Yeah.
so, what do you think about that?
I think the biggest mistake that people make is not tracking their food and not
Yeah.
understanding how many calories they're eating, how much food, how much protein and whatever they're eating. Because going back to what we were just talking about, right? Like a diet that works for you a year ago does not work for you today. But on the same note, a diet that works for you at 200 pounds doesn't work for you at 180 pounds. So it has to be adjusted. But if
Yeah.
you don't know
Right.
what you're eating, how can you adjust it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
same thing with
That,
your logbook. If you don't know how much weight
that
you're
goes
pushing, how do you know?
exactly. I was just about
Did
to
you
say
say
that.
logbook when I was talking?
Yeah, I was just saying that.
Oh,
It's so weird.
yeah. See, we're
No
on.
kidding, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
that's why people can't go past a certain point because one, you don't know how much you're eating, so you don't know how to adjust it when you hit a plateau, or two, you took
Right.
out an entire food group and you're like, okay, I'm basically eating nothing and my body has hit a plateau. I can't eat less than this, and then you feel defeated and then you give up and you get fat again, right? The easier way to do it, or should, dare I say, the right way to do it, is to track what you're eating so you can always adjust and know what you're doing and be able to make adjustments to move forward.
Correct. And that's even like tracking like how many steps you're taking, your activity level, how much cardio are you putting in. Like those are all
Yeah.
variables that we can be adjusting.
Yeah. I don't think people understand that the difference between bodybuilding and just being a regular person that wants to get in shape. The only difference is how many things that you control for bodybuilding. It's the same principles, it's the same kind of training. You eat the same foods, calories and macros work the same, tracking your
Yep.
steps and cardio works the same. And in bodybuilding, you just do it at a higher and higher level because you have to control for more things because you're trying to get to that mountaintop. The
Right.
the way that I referenced it before is like you think about it in terms of like a path, right? At the beginning of the path, it's very wide, so you could do almost anything and move forward, right? But the further you get down the path, it gets more and more and more narrow until at the end of the path is the 100% complete everything that you could possibly get out of your body. That is at the end, right? But as it gets closer and closer and closer, there's less things that you can do because the path gets wider. So you have to get more and more controlled on exactly what you're doing to get the most out of your body and your physique. But the principles are still the same, right? Like people are like, well, you know, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, so I don't know if I want to work with you. It's like, I mean, it's the same thing, you know.
Same
Also,
thing. It's the same thing.
you're not gonna get big by accident. I can promise you. You know,
I
when
wish it
people are
was
like,
that
"Oh,
easy.
bro, I put on muscle really fast. I don't want to get big like you." I'm like, "I promise you won't."
I don't want to, bro. I don't want to get too big. I think I'm gonna just work out 2 times a week.
Yeah, like I don't want to look like Ronnie Coleman. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. So, I don't know if I should be working out and eating like this. Like, I promise you will not look like Ronnie Coleman by accident or
Right.
by purpose. I could promise you.
Oh man,
What do you think about when people, or what do you think when people say I put on muscle really fast?
I call bullshit most of the time. I
Why?
mean, because if you put on muscle that quick, like majority of the time you're probably gonna be a lot bigger than what you say.
Well,
It's
what if you
not
can't
easy to
tell because
put
they got
on
a lot of
muscle,
fat on them?
huh?
What if you can't tell because they got a lot of fat on them?
No, you could tell. I will say one thing though, that bigger people do tend to have, like, once they do cut down, they have bigger legs
Yeah, because they're
because
supporting all that weight.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's they're um, putting a lot on that. So
Yeah. You know, when people say they gain weight really fast, I promise you don't. No, let me rephrase that. When people say they gain muscle really fast, I promise you don't. Not new muscle, anyways. It might be something where you just started going back in the gym and you started, pumping the weights and you're putting on a lot of old muscle really fast because you can, muscle memory and all that stuff, right? Like you can put on muscle that you've previously had pretty quickly. And that's usually where you have that period of like body recomp where you can put on muscle and lose fat at the same period at the same time. But more likely than not, you went to the gym, you worked out, and you got a pump, and you looked in the mirror and said, "Oh my God, I'm getting jacked. I'm gaining so much muscle." And then in reality, you just have a lot of blood in the muscle right now, and that's why it looks a little bit bigger. And what you think is muscle is predominantly fat, right? Like how many, geez, I can't even tell you the amount of times I've seen people go flex in the mirror and go, dude, I think I got like 20-inch arms. I measured. I'm like, yeah, but they're fat, which means you really have like 17 and a half inch arms. Like just because it's physically big, if you pinch it, if it's not thin, like you could feel the two, you're like, what I mean? Like if you're pinching like a bed
You
sheet.
can feel the
Yeah. Well, like
fat.
if it doesn't feel like you're pinching a bed sheet, it's fat, right? If it squishes, if you pinch it and it crunches, that's fat. If you pinch and it feels like there's an inch between your fingers, that's fat. That means it's not muscle. You're not putting on a ton of muscle all at once, bro. Don't flatter yourself thinking that you put on muscle really fast because you're somehow so much better than everybody else that goes in the gym that tries to put on muscle on purpose. And you could just do it on accident. You just don't want to because you're lazy. I promise. I
You do it on
promise you
accident.
don't. Because
I
if you
accidentally put
had
on
more
too much.
muscle, you also would have a faster metabolism and you wouldn't be as fat, more likely than not. I'm just
Oh
saying, bro.
shit! Hot take. Hot take of the day.
It's not even a hot take. That is the truth. That's just fact, man. People are delusional.
No shit. I wish it was easy to put on muscle that fast, man.
That's
It'd
what I'm
make my
saying,
life
bro.
a lot
Like
easier.
people people come to the gym and say, "I put on muscle really fast." I'm like,
No,
"You
you don't.
don't. You
You
just
really
don't." I
don't.
mean, first of all, there's a physical limitation on how much muscle you can put on in a specific amount of time. Second, there's people that dedicate their lives to putting on a few pounds of muscle a year. Like a few pounds a year is is amazing.
It's a big thing.
And so when people are like, "Bro, I put on 20 pounds of muscle in a summer," I'm like, "No, you went from skin and bones anorexic and you ate a little bit more food and you put on some muscle, but a lot of it is also just you got a little fat and you got a little bit more glycogen and a little bit more blood in there."
Yeah,
So
and let's also not confuse it for like newbie games either, too, because
yeah,
you will, as a newbie, you will put on muscle a little quicker, but that's all going to taper down real quick, you know.
yeah.
So just
I mean,
because
this is
you
this is
gain a
more
lot of
for
muscle
like
the first,
people that are 30 and up, or even late 20s and up.
yeah, you're not going to gain muscle easily. It's
Yeah,
not going to happen.
it's just funny when people are like, I'm scared. I don't want to get too big. It's like you won't. I promise. Also, you're coming here usually for fat loss, so the odds that you get too big while losing fat, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Anyways, so what are some easy options to stay on track with your diet if you're in a pinch?
Hmm.
That's a question we got. What are some easy options, Rich?
There's a lot of things you could do, you know. So easy option, you can go to Starbucks, get egg white, something like that. You
What?
know,
What?
egg, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I said you should go. You could go to Starbucks in the morning, get some egg whites, and opt out for the donut or the blueberry muffin over there, or go to Chipotle, get a bowl, try to
Chipotle's whack now.
yeah, it
After the
really
serving
is,
sizes went down, swag.
dude. It always kind of has been though, to be honest with you. Like
No,
even
I'm just
like
I'm just talking strictly on service serving sizes.
I haven't been to Chipotle in a hot minute, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean they used to hook it up.
So one thing that I would always do at Chipotle is I would wait for them to put the meat on, and then I would tell them double. Because if you tell them double right away,
Yeah, they
then
give
they
you the
don't do it.
worst scoop. Yeah,
Yeah, they just do like just a tad bit more. Gotta
yeah,
wait for them to put that scoop on, and then you be like,
yeah.
hit them with double.
Yeah, or you go half and half because then they give you like three-quarter scoop, three-quarter scoop.
Yeah, I never tried that, but that's a good idea too.
Yeah,
But
I don't go to Chipotle though.
Chipotle is a good option. There's a place out here called Freebird. It's kind of like Chipotle. I think it's
Freebird.
better, but
Oh,
things like that. You can even go to the grocery store, get a rotisserie chicken. You know, eat the breast. There's like at HEB. There's so many different options you could do. Like you can get the little to-go meals that are healthy. Like there's no excuse. So there's a lot of things you can do.
what are some healthy to-go meals at Hebe?
At the Heap,
Yeah.
there they have little containers of pulled rotisserie chicken already, so you can pick up one of those. They have boiled eggs. You can get some boiled eggs. They have a bunch of stuff like that. Pretty cool. Because like back then, you wouldn't be able to do that, man. Like 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't have stuff like that.
Oh, back in your day.
Yeah, makes life so much easier because
Yeah.
health is like it's getting very popular, so they are making it easier for you.
Yeah. Like some very easy ways to stay like really on track would be to get the hand pulled rotisserie chicken breast from there, or you can get it from basically any bougie grocery store. They have it, So
Mhm.
Sprouts, Whole Foods, they have
Mhm.
some hand pulled rotisserie chicken breast that is very low fat, high protein. You can at any of the grocery stores you can find microwavable rice, either Uncle Ben's or whatever.
Right.
That's easy. Or if you don't have a microwave, you can get rice cakes, peanut butter, nuts. There's so many options that you could do that. I mean, if you wanted to blow a lot of money, you could make a fatty salad at Whole Foods, but that's probably gonna be like $30 once you put protein
Right.
in there. But like those are really simple options that you can get at grocery stores to stay on track with your diet. Just easy rotisserie chicken breast, canned tuna if you like canned tuna. I don't like canned tuna. Um, you know, the egg white bites are cool. Like if you're looking for to go orders, Chipotle is a good option just because it's pretty simple. One thing to note about Chipotle is that they do add butter and oil on there. So like it's not just white rice, right? Like if you get their white rice, it tastes better than your white rice because there's like butter and oil on it, right? um, if you go to Panda Express and you get I forgot what it's called. It's not chicken teriyaki. I think it's like the Mandarin chicken or whatever, but it's basically just chicken thighs and
No,
you can get it with
teriyaki
sauce on
chicken.
the side. I don't think
It's
it's teriyaki
teriyaki
chicken.
chicken.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Well, that
teriyaki
one,
chicken.
right? Um, you can get the chicken teriyaki from Panda Express with sauce on the side, and then get half rice, half steamed veggies. That's a super easy meal. That's gonna be pretty good, right? And it'll be pretty pretty fire. You can get salads if you really want to. Like I used to get the double chicken salad or the double chop chicken salad from Subway because they throw you like 5-6 ounces of chicken and then you can get like whatever veggies you want and I would just get all of them and then just put
Yeah,
vinegar on it.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Even at like McDonald's, you can even get even little healthier options there too.
Yeah.
Like egg McMuffin, you can get that
Egg white
for
delight,
breakfast.
that one's not
Egg
bad.
white delight. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can
um
do.
at Chick-fil-A you can get the grilled
Grilled chicken
nuggets, which is just,
sandwich.
I mean, it's really expensive for what it is, but it's just grilled
Yeah,
chicken nuggets. I think the grilled chicken sandwich, if you just take out the mayo, that's pretty easy to fit in.
yeah. Opt for the fruit rather than the French fries.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways that you can stay on your diet. You just have to want to and then just do it, right? Like you have to know what to get. I
And that
think
kind of
a lot of people just don't even attempt to find the options that can keep them on track. And they're like, oh, well, if I'm not going to be 100%, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just eat whatever I want.
and that that goes to the same thing like eating out in restaurants too. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that are going to be healthier options. Like if you're going to a Mexican restaurant, get some chicken fajitas. Eat the chicken and the rice. You can have a couple of corn tortillas. Like it's not going to kill you, but
Wait,
get
wait,
the enchiladas smothered in green chili and with sour cream on the side and all that good stuff.
wait. Wait, corn tortillas or flour tortillas?
Personally, I'm a flour tortilla guy.
Really?
Yeah. I
Yuck.
think it has to do with New Mexico, bro, because I was born and raised over
It's the
there.
boonies.
Yeah, like flour tortilla burritos, like
Oh, that's
wow.
different. Obviously, you're not making a corn tortilla burrito.
But like for tacos, I go for corn. Like street tacos, corn
Yeah.
all day long.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, preference wise, are you corn tortilla or flour tortilla? Like, would you rather have,
For tacos,
like, I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on the dish, obviously. But like, if we're talking street tacos, obviously, I'm saying corn all day. But like,
yeah,
if you're getting fajitas, you're
I
probably
like
getting
both, bro.
flour.
That's a hard choice. Like some carnitas on a flour tortilla and some red chili.
But I actually I made a whole ebook on how to order while eating out to stay on your diet.
Hey,
If you
put it
want it,
in
you
the
can. I'll put the link below this episode
put the
if
link
you want
below,
it.
bro.
Yeah, click the link
Hit
below.
up,
What are you doing? What are you
hit
doing?
up that ebook,
Yeah, come on.
fatty.
Um, okay, so tell the viewers about your chicken fiasco
Uh,
for the listeners.
oh man. So went to the grocery store, picked up 8 pounds of chicken breast,
It was
and
eight
smoked it.
pounds.
8 pounds.
Jeez.
Two big packs like this, which is 4 pounds each. And I marinated them for a good day.
And they're
Put them on the
marinated.
smoker.
What'd you marinate them in though?
Um, I've been using the GU's teriyaki marinade
Okay.
with sriracha seasoning, so it's pretty good. But I smoked it, and it was getting a little later in the day in the night. It was like 9 o'clock. Pulled them off, and then went and got ready for bed and forgot about them and left them out all night. Lost eight
And
pounds of chicken.
so you didn't eat it.
No, I didn't eat it.
So what
I
was?
put a poll on Instagram to see if I should eat it, and everyone said I should eat it, and I just feel like everyone hates me and wanted me to get food poisoning.
Did you even smell test it, or were you just like, nah?
No, I smell tested. It smelled fine, bro, but nah. I watched a TikTok the other day of this guy that died from eating left out spaghetti. Okay, so ain't trying to go down that road.
How do they know that's why he died?
They did an autopsy, and there was like this weird ass parasite that he died from.
But is it because it was left out, or did he just make weird
Yeah,
spaghetti?
because bacteria was growing
How
on it.
long was it left
But
out
it was
though?
like okay, it was left out for a really long time, but still, it was like
Come on, bro.
72 hours. I think it was. Why you
That's a
would eat
long time.
something that is a really long time? Why you would eat that? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I googled it, and it says you shouldn't leave chicken out for more than like 4 hours. And that was
I
that
mean,
for
I've
like
done worse. I'm not gonna be real.
yeah.
I'm gonna be real.
I'm trying to-
Like I used to have my 6-pack bag with my meals with no ice pack, and I would be out like 16 hours for the day, and I'd be eating that shit. Bro, when I was in college and I had to commute to Berkeley, it was either an hour and a half round trip if I drove, or I would drive 30 minutes to take the BART, which took another hour, and then I had to walk up the hill, and then eventually I was like, fuck that. But I'd be gone all day. I like my first class some days was at 8 a.m. and then my last class was at 5:30. So I'm there all day long, and I just didn't have ice packs. I still ate that. I used to, and that was when I was bulking too. It was so gross. I would eat 7 ounces with 7 ounces of chicken. My bad, 7 ounces of chicken or sirloin with 12 ounces of rice, and then 20 grams of coconut oil. Like the coconut oil would be hard, and I would scoop it out of a jar and I would just eat it, and I would chew the
let it
coconut oil.
let it melt in your mouth.
Yeah, and just pause. But and then I would eat all of it cold, bro. I would do
Oh,
that
dude,
every day.
that's dirty.
I never went to college and had less than 5 days of school a week. Never.
Really?
Not until not until my last semester. I had 5 days of school every semester, and I was in college for a long time. I was in college for like 7 years, bro.
Did you ever like? Did you ever get concerned that maybe you were going to get food poisoning or not?
No, no, I was like, dude, I'm
You're in
good.
college, bro. You didn't give a shit.
Yeah, bro. Dude, sometimes I would smell it and I was like, I don't
Hmm.
know about this one. But
Oh
hey,
well.
man, if I got to eat something to get big and to win a show, I'm gonna do it. Like there was a point in time where if Ariel told me to eat dirt, I for sure would have ate dirt. If he was like, "This is gonna be, we're gonna get your pro card, or you're gonna win a pro show," I'd have been like, "Hell yeah!" How
You
many
just need to add
ounces?
20 grams of sand per
Yeah, I'd have
meal.
been like, "How many ounces? Can I drink water with it?"
This is called dedication right there. Type of
Yeah.
athletes I love.
who who are the best clients that you like to work with? Like, what is like personality wise? What do you think makes them the best to work
I
with?
like the ones that are consistent, the ones that put in work every week. You know, those are the
Consistently
ones that
bad?
no, 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 consistently
Not gonna
good.
say anything, but
No, don't be a problem child. All right. Every week there's something wrong that oh I couldn't follow my meal plan and blah 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 blah. Like I like the ones that are consistent. They put the work in, and every week they show up, and then those are the ones that reap the results, and then that's when it's fun. You know,
yeah,
when you're actually seeing them change and making healthier options, choices, and having fun with it too.
yeah,
So those are the ones I like. What about you?
yeah. I had to talk to some of my clients the other day. Um, so I have this client who is getting kind of frustrated because he feels like he's been really on point, but he'll slip up like 1 or 2 days out of the week every week for the last 3 weeks, and it's made his progress stagnant. And so what I told him is, it's way harder to be 90% invested in your program than the 100%. Because at 90%, you spend 90% of your week being 100% on your diet. So, you're focused, you're eating your meals, you're prepping them, you're going to the gym, blah, 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 blah. But that 10% that you're not on track, you can ruin everything
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
like
so
that.
much easier to overeat on calories than it is to save them up, right? Like to be in that deficit. And so if you're 90% in, 90% of your time, you're doing all this work, you're eating all this food, this diet food, whatever, and you're seeing no progress. But if you're 100% in, if you just commit and get that little bit in, you'll start seeing progress and everything will be worth it.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, not everyone like loses weight super quick either. It's like I was saying
Yeah.
earlier. It's a marathon. It's not a
Yeah.
sprint. Like you're gonna see little results in a week. You know, maybe
Yeah.
even 4, 5 pounds down in a month or two. Like, but it's gonna come off slowly, and eventually, you're gonna get to where you want to be.
Yeah. And like, I mean, one of the hardest things that it's like, you can't teach people is just knowing when someone's weight is going to drop and when you need to be patient and when you actually need to make an adjustment. You know, um, I learned to be more patient because at this point, I've done more than 5,000 check ins in my life easily. So imagine how many weight graphs I've looked at and how many responses I've looked at. Like, you can see that, you start to see the patterns in people, you know, but before, early on, I'd be like, okay, let's take out more food. It didn't happen this week. Let's take out more food. But as you get on, you kind of realize like there's like a threshold for, how low someone's food needs to be based on how much they weigh and how they've been progressing previously. And you kind of just get this sixth sense, like, all right, I know that you're eating 1,800 calories and you're 200 pounds. I know that you should be losing weight right now. And so it's either some other reason, like you're sleeping late, sleeping less, eating late, cramming meals before bed, not digesting things, or all those things are right. And we just need to be a little bit more patient. I had literally this week, I have this food. It's like pretty low for him, right? It's not like nothing, it's still a good amount of food, but I know that he should be losing weight right now. And he was like, man, I'm doing everything right. Like, I just didn't lose any weight. I was like, dude, I promise, just wait. We're going to see a big drop. He texted me yesterday and he said, dude, I just dropped 2 pounds overnight. And I was like, yeah, I told you that drop's coming. But
Yeah,
that's one of those
and
things that you can't teach.
it's like one client I have now. He was, you know, not dropping weight for like 2 3 weeks, and but his waist size was getting smaller. So,
That's another thing.
something's going on there. You're you're, you're losing something. You're losing fat. It's depending on the time you weigh yourself in the morning. Did you use the restroom? There's so many different variables that could go on. And then now that weight's he's starting to see it really fly off now, and he's getting more hyped about it. And you know, and now I'm
Yeah.
getting more hyped about it, and I'm cheering him on. I'm like, dude, it's awesome. Let's keep going.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Shout him out. Shout him out.
Uh, my boy Daniel, man, he's good. He's a
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
He's
We're
consistent.
Dan's part of the program. We have a little group chat. It's Dan's shirtless summer. We're gonna make sure that he's shredded this summer.
Yes, sir. It's coming.
Yeah, he's been working though. He's been killing it.
He had his
Uh,
first cheat meal a couple weeks ago. He was super
yeah.
proud of that. He was
What
all
did you give him
happy.
again? Burger and
I
fries.
gave him a burger and like 150 grams of fries.
Yeah.
Well, I asked him what he was craving, and then he said something I don't know over there in Canada that they have.
Oh no, I remember. Yeah, I remember. He said a doner kebab.
Yeah, a donair, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
is a donair?" I had to look it up. I was like, "What's a donair?" Looks like a gyro.
Yeah, it is basically. I only know
Yeah,
what it is because I'm fat and I watch food videos like that.
donair.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he had one of those. He was all excited, and he still lost weight too. So
yeah.
you know,
Well, usually what people don't know is like if you've been progressing really like well, like consistently, and we know that your food is in a good place, and this is why staying on your program is so important. If we know that your weight is going down, and then all of a sudden it just flatlines, if you can kind of just get that sixth sense, like, all right, you're at this weight, your weight's been trending down. I know we don't need to make another adjustment. Sometimes all you need is a refeed or a cheat meal, and then all of a sudden your body relaxes because it gets stressed out, trying to burn all the fat, and you start holding water. And once you have that cheat meal, maybe it goes up one day, maybe you drop the next day, but if it goes up one day, the second day after that, you see a huge drop because your weight might be up because it had more food, but then that next day after you get back on diet for a day, you see that huge drop. And yeah, so it's not
yeah,
always about just taking away more and more and more and more food.
yeah, yep,
Uh,
yep.
all right. So last question. This is one from that we got from you, from one of your peoples. They said, "How do I get out of my head so that when I eat a cheat meal, I don't feel like it has to be the last supper where I wanted to eat as much as possible because I know I couldn't have it the next day?" What's your advice?
My advice is to, you know, really enjoy the moment that you're in, right? Enjoy everything else around you. Enjoy your family that you're with. Most of the time you're going to be enjoying a cheat meal with your significant other. Enjoy that time, and kind of distract yourself from like going too crazy on all of these foods because you can really lose a lot of progress just by binging on one day. It can set you back a week, 2 weeks, like set you back a lot. So just enjoy the time that you're having with, the person that you're with. Try to really distract yourself from it, and next week you might have another one. What do
Hmm.
you think?
I think it depends on the situation. I mean, it's really easy to have that all or nothing mentality. I for sure was like that, especially when I was bodybuilding. But that's because it was the Last Supper. I wasn't getting another one.
Yeah.
You know, so I knew I was like, I'm not getting another cheat meal. I'm gonna make the most of this. Um,
That's why you're the reason why Ariel stopped giving out cheat meals. He started giving out just like go get a burger, 150 grams of fries, and all of this. Like, start making it more strict because
oh
of
yeah,
you.
bro. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but back in the day, he used to just say, "Get a burger and fries." You know, my fat mentality was like, he don't know where I got that burger and fries from. So I would get two burgers and two fries. I was like, it's the same. It's probably the same as like wherever else.
Yeah, now he's even like, you need to
He's
go
very
get a
specific
double
now.
quarter pounder. You can't even pick your burger now.
No, no, dude. I've had see like I had to I did that too because I was like, oh, I know how I was. I got to be specific. And I've had people, I was like, get like a burger, a normal sized burger, a normal looking burger, and you know X amount of fries. I've had people show me just the most deluxe, crazy, drenched in aioli and oil burger. I'm like, bro, what is that? That's
Egg, fried
huge.
egg on the top with bacon.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, what is that, bro? No. I said a normal burger. Actually, there's this one
Oh
time
yeah,
where,
I've been there.
yeah,
We've all
yeah,
been
yeah.
there.
Well, I told Mary this. Ariel told me one time, he goes, get 3 donuts before for pre-workout. And I was like, bet, you know? And like I was like, oh, I want a good donut, you know? So I went to a donut shop. I'm not getting like, you know, Safeway donuts or HEB donuts or something like
Yeah,
that.
you ain't gonna.
I'm getting
Yeah, like
donuts. Yeah, but I was working out later in the day, and you know, donut shops are usually kind of out by midday. So when I got there, the only good things there was like, it was like the cinnamon roll donut, but the cinnamon roll donut was like this big. For those of you on podcast, it's like it
what
was
the
like the
hell,
size of a
dude?
plate, you know, a little bit smaller than a plate. And he said, get, you know, a donut. So he's thinking like a normal sized donut. And I remember I, I ate it in the parking lot. I had two of those and one of something else. And then I ate it. I took a picture with it. I posted on my story. Bro, he ran in my comments. He was like, "Did you? That's huge. Did you eat the whole thing? You ate 3 of those?" I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I got three, but I knew
I
that
only
was
had
wrong, so
two.
I only ate one and a half." He goes, "Okay, that's fine."
Uh,
Oh god. Anyways, back to the question. Um, I think it's really easy to have the all or nothing mentality. So I think it's kind of understanding like why did you binge in the first place, right? Is it because you're like starving and you feel like you're about to crack? You know, one of the hardest things is when people go and binge, when they come back to their diet, they think they have to overcorrect and they're like, oh, I'm going to take out all my carbs the next day. But if you just mentally broke and you cheated on your diet and you had that crazy binge session, it's hard to go from one extreme to another, right? One extreme of just being full and stuffed and eating everything you want and then going straight into like, um, you know,
starving again.
starving yourself. Like that's when people get into the yo-yo diet because then you're binge and then you're starving and then you're like, wow, this sucks. And then you binge again and it's just back and forth, back and forth. Um, so if you're in a place like that, if you have a coach, I would say speak up because the best thing to do sometimes is just take a step back, right? Build the food up a little bit because it's like maybe you stay on it, but by the end it gets so miserable that you're like fuck this and then you break eventually again anyways. So sometimes it's like take a step back. In other times it's more just kind of understanding like there will be food again, and like the best thing is one, like were you binging because you were craving something? Like maybe you can find a replacement for what you were craving that's going to be good enough to get you by until the next time you get a cheat meal. Or if you're just craving the feeling of being full, right? Like get something that is very high volume to give you that full feeling without binging on something that's really going to fuck you up. Like don't eat half a cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, like if it's just feeling full, then have like a free meal, and then if you're really that hungry and it's really that big of a deal, go eat more chicken and rice or something like that to feel full. Like that's like an extreme. Or like eat something that's high volume, like eat a bunch of strawberries. Like that's what I've been doing lately. Like if
Yeah.
I'm really that hungry, I'll eat 2 pounds of strawberries and I'll feel so full, and then I just piss it all out all night because there's so much water in strawberries. um so it really just depends on like why do you feel the need to binge, right? Like and just kind of understanding yourself, and this is something that comes from repetition. Like the more times you've been through that, the more times you kind of understand yourself and you're like, all right, well, this is about the point where like I know I'm about to fuck it all up and break. Maybe I should back off. Or maybe it's like I just need to find something to fulfill it. Like maybe you're just stressed out and you just feel the need to fill that void with eating, which really the answer is figure out why you're so stressed and how can you overcome that stress with something else, because there are ways that you can de-stress without that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever ate with a small fork?
Oh yeah, all the time. I always like
Yeah.
I have these little tiny teaspoons, and
Little
that's what I
baby.
eat all my food with. I don't like the big spoons.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't like putting the big spoon in my mouth. Pause.
Pause. That's something I would do in prep is get like a little fork, so this
Yeah.
way I'm not eating so fast and
Yeah.
I can
One of
actually
my clients
enjoy
now,
it
Brenda, she is like,
and slow
I
down.
started eating with chopsticks so that I would eat slower because I'm not very good at eating at using chopsticks. But people don't
That's
realize
a good
like,
idea. I was just
yeah, because like people don't know like when you eat really fast, your brain hasn't registered that you're full yet, and that's why by the time it hits you, you're like, oh my god, I'm stuffed. So instead,
yeah,
drink a little bit of water before you start eating,
yeah,
eat slowly, chew your food, and you'll
yeah.
realize that you're full faster. And then, you never had to overeat. So yeah, that's a cool hack. She started eating with chopsticks.
Oh, someone asked a question on there the other day, asking about. I forgot to reply to them. They're asking about what to do, how to like deal with force feeding.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Getting like steps throughout like meals can help too. Trying to speed up your metabolism a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
like if you're having trouble like eating the amount of food that you need to eat, walking a lot of times before a meal is good. Sometimes it's just that you made the food and it sucks, right? Like you just don't want it because it doesn't sound good. So
yeah,
finding
yeah,
better ways to make the meals and make it more interesting, like that's
yeah.
another way.
And there's plenty of meals examples on AJ's page. You all need to go
Yeah,
check out.
gang. All right, man. Well, yeah. Any last words for everybody?
No, man. It's been fun. I'm hungry now, so I'm about to go eat a meal.
Oh, you're
Today's,
actually hungry on a bulk? That's crazy.
yeah, I know.
Then
Well,
you're gonna be
actually,
full after one bite.
today's my rest day, bro. So I get like half of my calories, so I'm a little hungry right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but other than that, man, it's been a good time, bro.
All right, guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're listening on an audio platform, make sure you give the show 5 stars. If you're not going to give it 5 stars, don't fucking review us. But thanks for listening, everybody.
I like
We'll
that.
see you next time. Be a fucking
Yo.
lion.